So today's project is working on the fence for our dogs, and we discovered pretty recently that the fence itself, while it looks nice and solid, at the bottom it's actually pretty flimsy. There's nothing holding the bottom together, and the dogs discovered they can just simply pull that right up and sneak underneath. We have one that's a very fast runner, and she's very small, so she can squeeze under there without too much trouble. So we have the bright idea of picking up some cheap rebar. There's lots of solutions for this out there. Most of them are very expensive. But a piece of rebar is only $6 or $7. We picked up some rebar, and that does solidify it, but there's still some play. Enough, again, for the dog to be able to push the way out. So what I need to do now is take something and stake this down, kind of like a glorified heavy-duty 10 stake. Stake that down, and what I'm going to do is use more rebar. I've got some bolt cutters, and I'm going to go make a jig to bend said rebar. Don't really want to buy a rebar bender just for this. Can't really find one to rent or borrow, so I'm going to make my own. So in order to bend the rebar for the dog fence, I want to make the U-shaped brackets that I mentioned to hold the bottom of that dog fence down. In order to bend that, you obviously need a rebar bender, but I don't have one. I don't want to buy one because they're expensive and I'm only going to use it this once. So I am going to try to make one. I'm going to grab whatever I can from the shop here, from the garage, scrap pieces or whatever, and we'll see if we can make one that will work. Found some 2x6s. 2x6s are, of course, wood, so we're going to need to strengthen these. One easy way to strengthen a span of wood like this is to, somebody was obviously playing with a hammer and nails, I'm going to pull that apart, is to laminate two boards together. So we'll get these all cleaned up, and then we'll use some glue and glue these two pieces together. And glue is actually extremely strong on wood. So with them glued together, they'll be laminated into one big solid block, and it'll give us lots of strength to work with. Some bolts from an old project, nice and long, do the trick. And I was going to design this one way, and I think I'm going to do something completely different than I planned. Because really all I need to do is just bend a U shape out of it. So if I do 2 bolts and then put my rebar, see, this is my rebar. Do 2 bolts and then use that to bend up. So I'll have them down here and then bend up, slide it in, bend it up. That should do the trick. I'll need something to act as my lever. The rebar itself should work, but I'm probably going to need something to hold it more down there. So we'll work on that piece in just a minute. I had a pipe, if I can find one, that'll work. Even a section of lead pipe or galvanized pipe. I'll find something, but in the interim I need to put these together. Okay, so I found a piece of black iron pipe. Should be strong enough. Stick the rebar in and bend it up around over the piece. That'll work. So to go back to the piece I was working with before, this little, it's actually a sink drain thing that obviously wasn't needed. Just that simple. This is scrap metal, so I don't care about it. I'm going to let this dry. I'm going to go in and paint a room while I'm waiting for that to dry. And we'll take this over and see if it works out. So here's the bender in action. I can actually do this by hand,
Trying to move.
but I also have a pipe that I grab to make it a little easier on the hands. And there you have it. Better?
Yeah.
Pass the hammer.
I think it's better. Oh, I should do the same with this one too. This is where she dug before, I'm assuming.
Probably. We should dump some dirt in there. That's secured up the bottom of the fence. And there you have it. Nice stable bottom. Rebar's holding in place. Got our fence stakes, keeping it solid. Seems to be working pretty well. Nice inexpensive solution for holding that down. Rebar bender is working very well. Won't be able to reuse those bolts, but I expected that. Certainly it's a lot cheaper. I think I got no money and some scrap 2x6s and $1.50 maybe in bolts, and they were just lying around anyways. So we're good to go.